Yep.
And I wanted to, so all three of you, all three of you submitted videos. Thank you very much. There's two pieces to the video. One piece is to learn how to shoot a video properly so you can analyze it. And the other piece is for you to learn how to analyze a video. And right now, we're doing the analysis. Vince and I are doing the analysis. But eventually, as we go through the course, I'm going to ask you to analyze your own video. Okay. Because as you learn more and more and you're able to see and start to see the feedback that we're giving you in your running, you're going to be able to see things easily as well.
Yes.
Okay. Couple things, and I'm going to talk about this a lot. Video analysis is incredibly important, not only so that you guys learn how to do video, but also so that when you do an analysis of your client or your student, you get a nice clean piece that you can look at easily. So a couple things. All of you, when you submitted your videos to us, you submitted the video, you had your person standing there, and then you ran back and forth. Okay. Okay. So if you read, how many of you, I won't put you on the spot. Hi, Jan. I won't put you on the spot, but how many of you actually read lesson 13, how to do a video? If you, awesome. Awesome. If you read lesson 13, maybe it wasn't clear, but lesson 13 tells you to do your video in a semicircle. Okay, so the person is standing like in the middle of the circle, and you're going to run in a half circle. So when you point the camera at the person as they're running in that half circle, look at how my camera is going. What am I seeing for the entire time?
Runner.
The person.
A runner, right? But what?
The center. The side.
The side view of the runner.
View.
So a profile of the runner the whole time, right? If your person is standing here and you're running back and forth, I get what? 3 frames of you in profile? Right? If I do this, I get 20 seconds of you in profile. Does that make sense, you guys?
That's a very good point.
It does. I mean, there's probably no hacks to it, but I'm just me. And that's the thing. So I was setting up my camera on my rucksack. Like, if that's my only option, what would you suggest for you to get the best video? Until I can find someone to shoot it for me.
Yeah, that's the big challenge, is finding a partner to say, go out there and help you with it. So yes, I get that. If you can't do that, then yeah, you're not going to be able to have somebody going like this. So the best thing to do then is to try and get, as much as you can, fill up the screen. Also, hold your phone, you guys, like this. I know Vince likes to do it like this, and you can. However,
that's the way you guys are going to be taught.
Okay, we're going to teach you to do it like this.
That's the way you're taught.
Okay, I like to do it like this. You can do it however you want, but we're supposed to teach you like this.
Yes, in the instructions, the picture is vertical. That's why
Correct.
I asked the person to just have the phone, to hold the phone vertically.
Yes. Yeah, hold the phone vertically, which I don't care to do. I'm just telling you, I like to do it like this. Yeah, we have our personal preferences.
Okay.
But the point is that however you do it, you guys, fill up the screen with the body. Yes. So some of you, when you submitted your videos, you were this big in the phone. Okay. So in the phone, I want you to be this big. Okay. So that means your person, if they're videoing you, or if you're setting it up so that you're videoing yourself. You know, you got to set it on a stand or whatever. Pre-shoot it so that you are filling up the screen. Why is that important? Anybody?
Well, just to have a more precise picture and to be able to see the little details that
Yes.
can matter.
Yes, to see detail, There may be microscopic changes in arms or fingers or your neck. If my neck is like this and I'm 50 feet away, it's going to be pretty hard to see a change if I lengthen from the crown of my head and all of a sudden my neck is long. It's going to be hard to see that, right? So fill up the screen. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about video right now because it's that's like 7 minutes. Yeah, Vince.
Yeah, I just want to get it. No, okay, Jen, go right ahead.
Okay, I have a sort of a backup question. Cheryl, could I connect with you sometime that you could help me access the added kinds of computer things that we need to do this that I haven't used before? So I need someone to help me learn, and I will learn it, but I don't know how to get into the chat and things. If I hit one problem, then I'm done for. I don't know how to troubleshoot it. So I would like to schedule like a 30-minute chat by phone, possibly.
Sure, be happy to do that, Jan. Be happy to do
Okay.
that. Let's we can do you know how to text on your phone?
Oh, of course. I'm about here. I'm not there.
You're not down here. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Jan, why don't we text each other after class and we can set up a time to talk.
Okay. And your phone number is what?
I'll put it on the screen so you can see it.
Thank you.
You bet. And you guys, that goes for anybody else. You know, if you want to just chat and talk about, like William and I had a great 10-minute conversation before everybody else got on, because he got on early and I always get on early. So if you want to just, you know, chat, even if it's a text, you know, or you want me to call you, just text me and just say, hey, Cheryl, are you available to talk? And, you know, I'll say, sure. And you can just call, we can just chat. So happy to do that. Sometimes talking, I mean, I love to text because it's convenient and it's fast, but sometimes talking on the phone or talking in person like we are doing right now creates a little more relationship and understanding between people. So I'm happy to do that with y'all if you want to.
Yeah. That's the old-fashioned way, and it builds community and connection.
Absolutely. That is a true story. And it builds relationship. And that's what it's important, right? When we're trying to get you guys to learn this stuff, you got to trust me and Vince to teach you.
Well, one of the things I was going to say, if you don't have somebody to actually take your video, still see if you can, instead of coming down on the ground, see if you can get it a few feet off the ground, your video, so we can get more of you. And then with that, yeah, you'll do side profile or as much as what's absorbed in that side profile. But then the other thing is run to and from. That's really important. And when you run to and from, run like right to your camera, stop short of knocking it down, turn around and then run away from it. And you don't have to go very far. You only have to go maybe 15, 20 feet away from your camera, because anything past that, you become so small, it makes it very difficult for us to pick out issues with your technique that we want to discuss. I don't know, William, if in your whole package there you had front and back, but I was only able to open up your side to side, and you were just running back and forth.
I did send two emails. It wouldn't all fit in one, but I'll work on it and do it better next time.
Okay, I only got the one email then. Okay.
So did you see two, or did only one come through on?
I think I only saw one as well, just the side to
okay.
side. Yeah. Which is
I gotta
fine.
tell you,
I'll work on that.
you
Yeah.
were running with the wind. I can see the trees, they're all going, and then there you
But
go.
it's been
Oh,
very
okay, wait.
windy here in the UK, windy and wet this week.
Yeah, sounds good. No, that's what I would do for those. I did get a chance to look at everybody's videos. Cheryl did a great job of critiquing everybody. I agree with everything that Cheryl said. If after tonight's class, you guys want to stick around, I can give you individual notes that I have on each of your
Oh, yes.
techniques as well.
Thank you. Mhm.
No problem. If Cheryl writes, then I don't write. That's what it boils down to.
Yes.
So let's see.
Let me
Did
just
we
add
go into
one.
how the week was with the runs? Did we do that, Cheryl, yet?
No, we haven't. Let's do that. But let me add one more thing too to the video analysis stuff, you guys. Vince and I are going to be commenting on your videos and adding our analysis from week to week or month to month. And please, you may submit your video as often as you'd like. Probably not more than once a week. I don't want to be inundated, but and you're not going to see, remember, this is gradual progress. So there are some major issues that y'all have. And so I can't do a full video analysis for each one of you because you all have multiple issues. So for example, with William and who was it? Anna, I kind of said the same thing, but it's because we're starting with lesson 1, which is posture. So the coaching and the feedback for you guys was but the same with Hari. Lengthen from the crown of your head, which will drop your shoulders and relax your upper body. Now, there are definitely other issues y'all have, but we're not going to go into every single one of them every single time. Does that make sense, you guys? So that's why the format I'm choosing when I email you, the good, the not so good, and please focus on this for now. That doesn't mean you can't go forward and look at other lessons and start working on other stuff. You can do that, but don't get into overwhelm and go, ah!
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, Vince,
So,
go on.
So how was everybody's week? So last week, we basically talked about the introduction a bit. And with that introduction, we talked about the welcome and we discussed the different components that we're going to cover. Efficiency, injury prevention, alignment, surrounded by relaxation. Were you guys able to practice or bring any of that into your this week's runs and walks?
Anything that you learned last week that impacted your running this week?
I mentioned it briefly earlier, and you only talked on it, Cheryl, but the hip rotation a little bit, that your demonstration of it, I thought was very helpful in the ease in which your hips moved sort of independent of your legs. And so that was helpful to think about that as I had a long run before my race coming up. And so I spent a lot of time thinking about that. But also trying to find that point of elongating either from either the base of my spine or the crown, and trying to find the correct lift, as it were, for that is something I focused on a lot on this week.
Excellent.
Great, excellent. Anybody else pick a focus that we had touched on from last week that you tried to bring with you into your runs this week? Yes. Oh gosh, you've got your last name up there, Allison. Oh, you're on mute.
It had nothing to do with running or walking.
Okay.
I just took the concept of needle and cotton and just kind of thought about how so much of my busy day spent with high school kids and counseling is like, I'm like on full on needle all day, all the time. There's no cotton in my life.
Well, okay, well, that's perfect. First of all, the big thing is And when you say it's got nothing to do with the running or walking, I'm going to step out and correct you a little bit to say that it actually has 100% to do with that. Because what you were able to do was to actually start to feel what's actually happening in your body.
Mhm.
And that's going to be so important down the road when you go off for your walks. Or for the runners, the people that are running, they're going off for their runs. So being able to become body aware, hugely important. So if this past week you became body aware, that's great. That was a great first week. You've got to take that as a plus and become, yeah, I was body aware. What's happening? Now, what you'll see is later on, as we progress with the technique, geez, body awareness. Was I heel striking or was I landing on my midfoot? Was I hunched over or was I nice and tall and long through the crown of my head? So these are different things that you could do to bring in that body awareness. Anybody else?
Me, I'm working on my Dantian just to try to feel it during the just trying to transfer from my gear, my speed 1 to 2 to 3, just something that is brand new for me. So, but it's very impressive how, yes, without extra effort, yes, the speed increases incredibly.
It's
But,
really,
but still trying to, just as you said, just trying to feel and sense more every body part, as Cheryl mentioned, also my shoulders. So that's something that I try and also, and I'm working on it.
anybody else?
Yeah, from my reading of the book and just from what I know about the Chi walking and last week, I walk a lot in my independent living cooperative community where I live. There's a lot of walking, and I really use that time always to line everything up, line it all up, and to let today I haven't thought about shoulders down, but I always am lifting from the crown, chin a little bit down, and hips aligned under me, but they would be swiveling like and walking like as if I was walking backwards. So this tiny little forward, 4th inch forward, and I can feel it. I can feel the energy as I move through that. So I sort of like, I like that. And what I want to get better at is being peaceful as I walk, feeling the chi and not feeling like I need to be listening to a podcast too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just to go
Jan,
a 30-minute walk and
Yeah.
just do it in a calm, quiet way and not
Jan,
get bored.
Jan, are you teaching other people right now some of this stuff in your assisted living, the people that you walk with? Because if you are, that could be counted as part of your pro bono teaching.
Oh, that's great.
Oh,
Well, I'm trying to teach my husband, but he's not a very good student.
Yeah, no, they aren't.
Those husbands.
Don't
Forget
worry,
about that.
wives,
Then-
girlfriends, they're not either.
That's really great because when I do my yoga workshops, I always have a focus. And the next time I do one, it's going to be the focus is going to be on the alignment and on chi walking, on walking.
Okay.
So-
So what I would suggest, you guys, because I know William asked this question, online, and how many of you guys are on Mighty Networks? Are you following? Like,
Yes.
William did a great post with questions and I answered some of those questions. So hopefully you read that. Keep an eye on the feed in Mighty Networks in our class. That's a good place for you to answer questions too. But one of the things that William asked was about the pro bono teaching. And it is an on your honor system where if you scroll, there's a place in Mighty Networks that actually shows you a spreadsheet where you can document what your teaching is and what how many hours, what you're teaching. I would recommend that you teach as you go through the lessons. So in other words, for Jan, for example, I would recommend, Jan, that you not teach anybody chi walking until you really have some good grounding in the technique.
Yeah.
But certainly teach posture right now, because we're going to do lesson 2 today, posture, and this is a perfect opportunity for you to practice on somebody. Find a guinea pig and say, hey, can I practice teaching, right? And then document that. Okay.
Document it and then send it in.
No, you don't need to send it in yet.
Just keep
Yes,
our own
at the,
records.
at the end
Okay.
of the course, you'll need to send it in.
Okay.
But it
Okay,
is
and-
on your honor system. So you're just, you're writing it in as you go.
Anybody else want to share anything from this past week?
I guess I'll share. I have a natural anterior pelvic tilt. So I've been
Okay.
doing some supplementary exercises to correct that. So yeah, sometimes it shows, well, a lot of times it'll show up in my running. So I'm constantly just trying to, do the vertical crunch. So yeah,
Okay.
main thing posture wise I'm trying to fix.
I can see it, Hari, in your video. I could see that you do have a posterior tilt. And Allison, you can jump in here if I say anything wrong. As a physical therapist, a posterior tilt is very difficult to correct, very challenging. So if you're working with a therapist or you have some specific exercises that you're doing, that's awesome.
Did you say you had a posterior or anterior tilt, Harry?
Anterior, so my spine goes like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I
like
thought you said
those-
post.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said posterior.
No.
Okay. Then what I said, I think you're crunching too hard then in your video.
Okay.
Because I'm seeing too much engagement in your core. If that makes sense. So
Okay.
this is important for posture, but so you guys, in an anterior tilt just means, can you see how my pelvis is tilting forward and back, right? So an anterior tilt is when the pelvis is tilted forward. There's a lumbar arch. So there's an arch in your spine, right? A posterior, if you're crunching too hard, in other words, if you think you have too much of a tilt and you're doing this too much, look at what happens. You're tucking your tail underneath and you're actually going the opposite direction. Does that make sense? So what you want is a neutral, what physical therapists call a neutral spine, where you're not anterior tilted and you're not posterior tilted. So if you find when we do the posture lesson today that you're doing this too much, you don't want to overcorrect and do this, which I think you may be doing, Hari, but we can address that privately. So you just want to be right here. Having an arch in your lumbar spine is natural. It's not a bad thing. It's a bad thing when that pelvis is not level and it's here instead. But let's go through posture because we're jumping ahead.
We still have to listen to everybody teach us introduction.
Yes, sir.
So who would like to start off on the introduction level? Or excuse me, introduction lesson.
Okay, well,
So
I can
Great.
go if you want.
Take it
So-
away, Anna. You've got it.
Okay, so, okay, let's try this. So welcome to the She Running introduction. So the two main themes underlining all the She Running materials are energy efficiency and injury prevention. When you can run pain-free with less effort, the joy of running naturally increases and can grow into a lifelong practice. She Running combines the central movement of Tai Chi with the sport of running by shifting the workload to your core muscles and away from your legs, giving you efficiency and less injuries.
Fantastic.
So,
Excellent. Excellent.
Oh.
Allison, can you pick
Thank
up?
you.
No, that was great.
thank you.
I'm trying to look on the line because I haven't received the book yet. I'm still waiting for that.
You've got the course information. This is all in your course.
It's all in there. So she did the intro. So help me out here if we go to
Okay.
starting to go with the 5 things or just, or the postural alignment. I'm just trying to
Mhm.
figure out where on it she left
Yes.
off.
This is
You've
the
got the welcome.
alignment and relaxation needle in cotton. That's the part.
Are you on Mighty Networks, Allison?
I
but-
just
but
opened
she's
up
got
the lesson introduction on alignment and relaxation.
In Mighty Networks?
Oh, you mean on the like course page?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So hit the table of contents.
Yeah,
Okay, from table of contents, go down to lesson 1. It says introduction.
yeah.
Okay, and we just covered everything in the upper paragraph there, energy efficiency, energy prevention. The next section is about alignment and relaxation, needle and cotton.
Okay, perfect. All right. So alignment and relaxation is how you work towards more efficiency and also prevention of injury. And there's a concept called needle and cotton that really captures the essence of it. And if you visualize a needle surrounded by cotton, then the needle represents the structural integrity of the spinal column. And that is what's going to carry the load. And then the cotton is all the parts around it that are relaxed and moving. And they can't move in the way they should unless you have a really strong needle or core. When your core is strong and your arms and legs are relaxed, you can walk in a way that is powerful and fluid and relaxed.
Great. Okay, William, why don't you take over? We've got 2 types of alignment.
Yeah. So in She Running, we look at 2 types of alignment. One is postural alignment, and that's how your body sits on top of itself. And as you move, then your body is supported by your bones and your tendons and your ligaments rather than your muscles propelling you forward. And the second is directional alignment, so that your body is pointing in the direction that you're wanting to go. Thinking that the intentionality of your direction, your feet are pointing in the same direction, your hips, your shoulders are all pointing. Yeah, so I mean, those are the key points. Balancing the ankles over the knees, over the hips and shoulders, and then having everything pointing in the same direction.
Excellent. What else? We've got one other thing. Oh, actually, you did just say that. You added it right in there. Okay, cool. Who's that? Harry. Let's go with how do we move as Chi runners and Chi walkers?
So the first I think step is to locate our dantian. So I'll just demonstrate. So you just make a heart like this, and your two fingers go into your belly button, and then your dantian is in the middle right here of the heart. And so when you move from your dantian, your whole body just moves like that. So I think that would be the first step, is first locate your dantian, and then concentrate on that just mentally, put your mind there, and then just move from there. And then you'll find that the rest of your body moves with your dantian. And by moving from your dantian, you alleviate a lot of the extra work that your muscles do. So like a conventional runner would power through with their legs because they're not engaging their core, and they're not directing movement from their center. So directing movement from your center saves a ton of energy as far as relieving all of your arms and legs from doing extra work.
Great, okay. Now, Jan, we're gonna be
Yes.
more chi walking specific. What's our next section we talked about in the introduction?
Actually, I haven't gotten access to that materials yet, so I'm not sure what that is. I'm wondering
Oh,
if
okay.
it's posture.
No, not yet. Before we're still in the introduction. We're still basically saying hello to everybody
Yes.
and giving them information as to what to expect for from the class as we move along.
Oh, okay.
So one of the things that Cheryl had mentioned earlier was to talk about gradual progress, that we take one step at a time. Everything has to go incrementally to its own developmental stages, from less to more, from smaller to larger.
Mhm.
So when the growth process happens gradually, naturally, each step forms a stable foundation for the next step. This principle supports the ideas that nothing happens before it's time.
Mhm.
This reduces the pressure to be a faster learner than is right for each individual, or that is right for each individual. Now, I'm going to take don't worry, we're going to come back to the running part, but what do we got? Allison, do you know what's next?
The difference between chi walking and conventional walking?
Got it. Why don't you give us a little bit of that? And please, everybody understand, whether you're a chi walking or a chi running, it's very important. You get certified as a chi running instructor. You're also certified as a chi walking instructor. So you need to know these.
Okay.
All right, take it away.
So the biggest difference, people might ask, why am I taking a chi walking course? I've walked all my life, and babies without any direction, it's a natural developmental stage to learn how to walk. And in fact, babies do walk very appropriately, and then us humans mess it up, basically by not walking enough, by sitting too much. And over time, then we don't have a relaxed way of walking. The probably biggest difference between the chi walking and the way people tend to walk is that chi walking is more core centric. So we're back to really establishing that firm needle with the relaxed muscles. Another difference is that with the core involved, that also includes the larger muscles that are involved in propelling us forward, as opposed to using the smaller muscles that are then forced with absorbing impact and trying to move us forward.
Excellent. Okay, now, William, you've got to take us home. Okay. As a chi running instructor, we've talked about moving from our center. What's the next thing that we talk about in our class?
Cooperating with the forces, with the pull of gravity and the oncoming road.
You got it. Okay, so Anna, take over. William, do you see where we are on the
Yes.
screen?
Yes, I do. Yep.
Okay,
So he said that in Tai Chi, the best way to work with a force is to cooperate with it and not oppose it. Because when you oppose a force, you give it more power. So if you move with a force, so you can neutralize it and also use it in your favor, and probably it also can become like an ally. So we have those two forces that act on your body, which are the downward pull of gravity and the force of the oncoming road. So you cooperate with the pull of gravity when you fall forward into it, and you cooperate with the force of the oncoming road by swinging your legs rearward like a wheel, like the inferior part of a wheel.
Okay.
excellent, excellent. Hari, what's next?
Could you repeat the second force that you said?
Sure. The second force is the oncoming road. So you have the road that you are running through a road. So as Vance explained last week, it's like your force is hitting the road because the road is physically there. So the way to use that stable piece of massive road, so the way to cooperate with is by landing on your legs and just move them, no forward, but rearward. So it's like just landing and pushing the road behind your body.
And the word is ROAD. Right?
ROAD. Yes,
Okay,
road.
That was the one I wasn't sure. Okay.
Okay.
So
Cool.
Anna,
Yes.
when you cooperate with the force of the road, I'm just going to tweak what you said a little bit.
Thank you. Yes.
When you cooperate with the force of the road, you're actually not pushing your foot rearward. You're actually allowing, I know this is kind of
The
weird,
road to pass.
you're allowing the
Below.
road to pull your leg rearward.
Okay.
That's
Yes,
a
thank you.
distinct difference.
Thank you.
Using the word push is dangerous
Yes.
because most people do push off. And so you don't want to, insert that word into your coaching at all. So
Thank you.
and it's allowing the road to pull your leg rearward is something that is challenging to do until you learn how to fall forward from your center. Very difficult to allow the force of the road to pull your leg rearward if you're not falling forward in the first place, which is why lesson 5 is so critical, falling from your dantian.
Okay, Hari, your turn. Take over, please.
Okay, so the next topic is gradual progress. And basically this is saying that we should all aim to improve in all of our movements incrementally versus trying to do too much at once. That could potentially lead to regression in speed or technique by trying to take on too much. So gradual changes in form, distance, and speed. So in terms of form, maybe picking out 1 or 2 focuses at a time for each run rather than trying to do 5 or 6, which I'm very guilty of. And then distance, never adding more mileage than you're currently able to do. So like if you do a 10-mile long run one weekend, don't jump to 20 the next weekend. A reasonable jump would be to do maybe 12 miles the next weekend. And then speed, this is also something to add gradually. So maybe doing like 1 speed workout a week tends to be the golden rule for most like training programs and running that I've seen. Yeah, don't do speed workouts 5 days a week. That could potentially lead to injury and regression. So
Okay,
the main idea
what's
is,
in the,
sorry,
what's in the next section? You're starting to get pretty deep here. Remember, we're still in the introduction at the moment. So you don't want to open up too many cans of worms just yet. Okay, so we've got the gradual progression down. You've explained what that is. What's our next topic?
the chi running focuses that can be done in our non-running day-to-day activities as well, such as sitting up tall when you're at a desk working or in your car driving, and then walking as well, just focusing on the chi walking techniques, like lifting from the crown and leading with the dantian, and allowing the road to move your legs rearward than trying to power walk with your legs, you know.
Okay, starting to add a little bit extra. William, take us home.
The chi running is a holistic practice, and just like yoga, it's easy to just bring your thought back to the fundamentals. So and look at the focuses again. So is your posture right? Is your movement right? Are you falling from your dantian? Or is your body pointing in the whole direction? And it's coming back to these focuses and incorporating them to your life that really propels the practice and allows it to grow and incorporate into everyday life.
Cool. Keep going.
Yep. So there are 4 basic components to chi running and chi walking. So there's posture. I'm just I have my belt undone, so if I've got to stand up,
Stay safe,
it's late
please.
here.
This is a family show. It's
Yeah.
being recorded.
I'm sorry. I may need more space on a future call, but posture being aligned and tall, lifting from the crown of the head, so your body's extended. The ankle lift is just as you're falling from your dantian, it's just simply lifting your ankle and allowing you to move forward. The arm swing, pulling them back and letting them fall. Again, a natural movement. And then again, leading with the dantian. So thinking about your center and moving it forward and allowing your body to follow, falling forward. So the four points again: a posture, the ankle lift, and moving into walking, the arm swing, as a natural movement, falling, pulling your arms back and falling, and then falling, leading with your dantian and falling forward.
I've got to tell you guys, I'm going to go out here on a limb. Cheryl, very prepared, very impressed, guys.
Thank you very much.
That was good. You guys all did very well. Followed the script. Mostly don't want to get into too much detail because that's the introduction. Typically, after I talk about what we're going to do the remainder of the day, I take a pause. I'll ask my students any questions, anything that I can help you with before we go on. And then once I get them feeling comfortable that they're good with everything, then I actually move into the posture lesson itself. Now, I've got a couple notes. I'll let Cheryl, I know Cheryl loves to get in there. Cheryl, you got anything that you wanted to add, critique for? No, what?
You're asking me? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
do you want to add anything in here for critiquing?
Yeah,
anything
just-
that you saw that you'd like to add to?
Yeah, I just, really look at the paragraph about moving from your dantian. That one's incredibly important that you understand that. And Hari, you did a great job in describing what your Dantian is, which is actually in the next lessons. The Chi walking lesson describes how to find your Dantian and so forth. But actually the description of what your Dantian is actually, it's more ideological. It's more, what is your Dantian? You really need to be able to understand that. And so this is, remember, one of those things that I would say, memorize that paragraph until you get it in your bones. Because when you're in front of a group and you're trying to describe what your Dantian is and what it means, if you don't have the words, people are just going to go, what? You know? So, you know, moving from your center and what that means, that's important. So look at that paragraph again, and really make sure you understand that, because people are you're gonna talk about, you know, where did this Chi running come from? And you might even describe, you know, that Danny Dreyer created this thing in 1999, 2000. He wrote his first book in 2001, and then he, you know, he called it Chi running because he was a practitioner of Tai Chi. And so one of the principles in Tai Chi, remember, is needle and cotton. We talked about that already. And also in Tai Chi, all movement originates from your center. And this all allows all parts of your body to work proportionately and ensures that the larger muscles do the big work and the smaller muscles do the smaller work. So when you actually move from your center, you are allowing that proportionality to happen. Remember, we're transferring the work of running from your lower legs to your center, where the big muscles are in your rear end and in your quads and in your hamstrings and in your, you know, your abs and stuff. Why use those little tiny muscles in your calves to push you forward, which causes injury, when you have this big mass up here that can move you forward just by cooperating with gravity and allowing the road to sweep your legs rearward? So understanding how your Dantian works will not only unlock the key to your own Chi running practice, but it will help you to coach effectively, because that is the core issue, is falling from your center. Okay, I'm done.
Cool. What I'd like to add is, when you guys are teaching, your movements are extremely important. Now, I just want to do something here. Okay, you get to see what I've got left in my office here. Could have just moved this camera a little bit.
I'm disappointed you actually don't have a set.
Sorry.
He's in his
Next week I'll be at my place, and I have actually a much larger area where you guys can actually see me run to some extent. So when you're talking, you guys are all honorary Italians. So you're going to use your hands. Now, everybody was using hands, but now we're going to use hands specifically. Now, before we start to use our hands specifically, remember, when you talk about your posture, if you have your students lined up semicircle, okay, so here I'm looking at the camera. So if I had multiple cameras in a semicircle looking at me, if I turn to address this side of the room or that side of the room, I want them to see shoulder, hip, and then ankle down below. I want them to see a straight line, a column. And when I talk about that column, I'm going to reinforce it. And as I reinforce it, here we go. Ankle, hip, shoulder, and then ear. Those 4 spots balance right on top of each other. And with that in mind, when we talk about moving from our center, that'll move our upper body forward, just a tad. As we do that, now we've got this force of gravity coming down on us. We get the horizontal effect to help move us along. Then the other end of the spectrum, and I want to do this. Let me see. I know you won't see my whole body, but I'm gonna get this hopefully low enough that you can see
Mhm.
the ground here. When I talk about the force of the oncoming road, here's the oncoming road. The road's coming at me. I put my foot out there as a power runner. See where my heel hits the ground. The road's coming at me. It hits my heel, goes from my heel to my ankle, to my knee, to my hip, the small of my back. That force then manifests itself in the weakest spot.
Yeah.
Now, as a chi runner, we're going to cooperate with this force. So here's the force road that's coming at us. It's going to allow my foot, I'm going to allow that to take my foot out behind me. No extra work's required. The force of the road is going to do that. And that's also want to get into in that introduction. Now, we got a couple little things that I came up that were mentioned. So, let me see here. If you get into the weeds about gradual progression, the rule of thumb is no more than 10% per week. You don't increase your mileage by more than 10%. You don't increase your speed by more than 10%. Everything is a 10% rule. Okay, so don't get into something a little bit too far in advance, but if you do bring that up, there you go. Posture, whenever you're talking again, you want to get the side view.
Mhm.
Give me a moment to go through the script really quick. Oh, needle and cotton. Geez, I don't understand this needle and cotton thing. Where does it, are we talking about running and walking? What is this needle and cotton all about? A needle. So let's make this something that's personable. Okay. Some people in the class, you may be knitters or sewers, and you have a needle, and it's really very small in diameter. But you ever try to break one of those needles? They're very strong. Maybe you're teaching and you're out on a field and you've got goalpost, you know, from the football. There's your needle, the goalpost. Nice and tall, nice and long. Look at that. And now we're going to surround it by relaxation. What do you mean surround by my shoulders? Oh yeah, relax your shoulders. Ah, there we go. Later on, and we'll get to talk about this, we'll relax our pelvic girdle. Oh yeah, that's just relaxation. Allowing our pelvic girdle to go back and forth. And then when we start, we'll do this in a little bit, when we talk about that ankle lift, our ankles are gonna be so loose that they just flop to the ground. Our toes just go to the ground. I'm relaxing around my needle or my column. Ankle, hip, shoulder, and ear. The relaxation is all the way around. I'm using visuals. I'm using mind body to help reinforce the words. So do your best to start to incorporate that as we're going through. Any questions on any of that? Cheryl, did I bring anything up that you might want to reinforce?
No, that's good. That's great. I think we ought to start talking about posture because that's a big one.
Yep, that's why we've got 2 weeks.
Yay.
Yep, okay. You want to start on it? Oh, wait, or before we go to posture, any questions on the introduction? Are you guys all good with that? You did very well sharing information back and forth. You're going to need to, be able to get that out to everybody. Did you guys notice how when I was specific to the chi walking, how it aligned so well with the chi running? Terminology was just slightly different, but the main themes were identical. So chi running and chi walking at this point in time, everything is identical.
I have a quick question. So is the lesson format, is it typically delivered in a workshop or is it designed to deliver weekly as well?
So great question, William, and we'll go into that in more detail later, but people will design their workshops anywhere from 4 to 6, 7, 8 hours, depending on what you want to include. So it's very difficult to include every single lesson that you see in the table of contents in a 4-hour workshop, for example. So the answer to your question is it depends. It depends on you, depends on what you want to teach, depends on what you want to charge, depends on your market, the people that, and we'll talk about all that, but that's a great question.
Okay, thanks.
When Cheryl and myself started teaching, this was a 2-day class. This was Saturday and Sunday.
This,
And then
the instructor course, is that what you're talking about, Vince? Or are you talking
no,
about?
an actual workshop
Oh, right.
for the
Okay.
students was
Yeah,
2
yeah.
days.
Yeah.
It was, you signed up for this workshop. It was Saturday and Sunday. We'll meet you at 9 o'clock in the morning. We finish up on Saturday at about 4:30, and then we'll see you about 9 o'clock again. We'll go pretty much through to someplace around 1, 2 o'clock on Sunday. And that's how much time we had. And then over the years, time became more sparse for our students. And all of a sudden it was, okay, we got to get done in 1 day. And then all of a sudden it was, wait a minute, I don't even have time for a full day. And then we do half-day classes now. And in some places, like I do a lot of work with triathletes, and I will actually only be permitted 2 hours to teach Chi running. So each time the classes get smaller and smaller and smaller, the time that it takes to allow somebody to get it more into their bodies, I lose the repetition. And, you know, so you've got to keep that in mind. And that's exactly what we're doing. But these steps, you can't start off talking about ankle lift. You can't, you've got to do the posture before the ankle lift. You can't talk about gears and stride length until you do, you know, posture and ankle lift and Chi walking. And now we've got Chi running arm swings. You can't do all that stuff until you get there.
Thank you.
Any other questions? You're welcome. All right, Cheryl, take it away.
All right. Okay, so the posture lesson, you guys, is really, really important. And, you know, you just finished the introduction, and you can say, okay, just like William said, he said there's 4 basic skills to Chi running and Chi walking. There's, you know, posture and alignment. There's arm swing. There's leading from your center. And what's the other one? Ankle lift and Chi walking. Hello. So there's 4 basic skills. Okay, I'm getting old. So, and we teach them in that order. We teach posture and alignment. We teach Chi walking and ankle lift. We teach arm swing, and then we teach leading from your center. So those are the basic skills. And then you build on those using gradual progress. So you just finish that whole thing with the introduction. You can say, okay, so now we're going to start your first, we're going to talk about posture. You don't have to say lesson 2, posture. You just, you know, roll into it. So you're talking about posture. So posture is incredibly important because when you have good alignment, you create efficiency. And when you create efficiency in your running, you prevent injury. So I'm looking at, let me scroll down here a little bit. So when your body, when you're supported, when you're aligned properly, your body is supported, your body weight is supported by your skeleton instead of your muscles and ligaments and tendons. So your skeleton is super strong. And when we align our posture, you'll see how important that is. And then when you have alignment, you can cooperate with gravity, you can cooperate with the force of the road as it goes by you. So there are 2 types of alignment, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, but we're going to go into a little bit more detail. So the first type of alignment is postural alignment. And let's talk about that in detail. So postural alignment has to do with your ability to align your body. Sorry, I keep moving my screen so you can see me a little better here. That's not so good either. So postural alignment is a straight line from your the point of your shoulder to your hip to your ankle. You can't see my ankle, but it's a straight line. Okay, it's vertical, perpendicular to the ground. And that, when you're aligned, you are efficient. You're holding your body up with your skeleton, not your muscles and tendons. The other part of alignment is directional alignment. We talked about that before. Directional alignment has to do with all your body parts going in the direction that you're going. So a demonstration of that, and you notice that I'm standing up, you guys, and I'm using my body to demonstrate. Your students are going to watch you as you talk, and they're going to look at your body. Are you aligned? Are you relaxed? Are you able to express yourself with your body easily so that they can follow you? Okay. So directional alignment has to do with your body parts going in the direction that you are. One obvious one is arm swing. So when you're swinging your arms, if your arms are going this way, your shoulders are going that direction and that direction. That's not in the direction that you're going. Okay. So you want to keep your arms, your shoulders square, and that is good directional alignment. Another good example of directional alignment is your feet. So I was a duck runner for many years, ran with my feet like this. Seriously, it was brutal. I had incredible knee pain. So that my feet were going that way instead of in the direction that I was going. As soon as I corrected my feet direction, so they're going straight, my knee pain disappeared. It was that easy. And that's what sold me on She Running, in fact. I read the rest of the book before I got in a workshop. Another example of directional alignment, you guys, is your head moving up and down quite a bit. Okay, and that's really an indicator of you're pushing off. So if your body is moving in this direction because you're bouncing up and down as you run, that's pretty inefficient. And what's it going to indicate? It's going to indicate that you're pushing off with your feet. You're pushing against gravity, right? And remember, we talked about in the introduction, you're cooperating with the forces that work against you. You're cooperating with gravity. So if you're falling forward, your head's not going to be going up. Okay, your head's going to be moving in the direction that you are. Okay, so if you are, so that's a really good indicator. If I'm looking at your video and I see your head moving this much, that's a real good indicator that you're pushing off and you're not falling from your center. Now, that said, when you run, there is going to be some vertical movement. You're not going to be perfectly flat as you run. Okay, but it will not be as much. Okay. So there's 4 steps to creating your posture. This is extremely important, and I'm going to say it a lot during your workshop today. So you're going to hear this a lot. So that you'll know it and you'll be tired of hearing me because I'm going to say it a lot. So the first step is to align your feet and legs. And we're going to create this alignment by these 4 steps. So the first thing you want to do is check out your feet and align your feet. So your feet should be, and I'm just going to demonstrate this. Actually, what I do in a workshop is I actually have you do this with me, you guys. So if you would please all stand up and we're going to create your posture. Okay. All right. So the first thing, and when we have you teach this next week, you guys, you can do the same. Have us all stand up. Act like you're actually teaching the class. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is align your feet and legs. So you look down and you look at your feet and you want them to go straight forward, right? If you notice that your feet are splayed out, if they're out a little bit, which is typical, a lot of people stand this way, right? then what you want to do is you want to take your whole leg and rotate your leg so that it's straight. So in other words, if your feet are like this, you don't want to just go like that. You literally want to take your whole leg and rotate it from the top of the hip to move it in. Does that make sense? Read that part again when you're practicing. And your feet should be about a fist width apart. So if you put your fist down between your feet, that's about how far you should be standing apart. And this is when you're standing, you guys. When you run, you're actually going to be landing with your feet a little bit closer together. But when you're standing, it's about it's a hip width apart. And so your hips are right here, the hip joint. So if you travel a straight line down through your big toe, you'll notice that your feet are about a fist width apart. Okay, so if you see people standing in your class, you know, the typical guy stance, right? Or the typical girl stance, right? We got posture issues. Okay, so that's what we're correcting right now, is how do you stand just in good posture? So again, back to that first step is to align your feet and legs, and you're now have your feet straight. You're about a fist width apart, and now you're balancing on that tripod. So feel that there are 3 points under your foot. That's a tripod. And those 3 points are under your big toe, okay, under your little toe, and right in front of your heel, okay? So you should see a picture of that in Mighty Networks. I don't even know if you can see that.
In
on
the
my
course,
foot.
yes.
In the course, okay? So those 3 points, you want to be balancing your weight. So you may notice if you rock back and forth or you move around on your foot, yeah, look at what Vince is showing you there. So it's right underneath the big toe. It's called the proximal metatarsal, I guess. Right under your big toe and right under your little toe and in front of your heel. Those are the 3 points forming that tripod, okay? So you may notice as you're standing here that you may be having more weight on the outside of your foot, so you may not even feel your big toe, or that there's weight underneath it. Or you may have somebody who's standing back on their heels. If you're noticing that your weight is on your heels, notice if your knees are locked. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that, you guys.
Yes.
My knees are locked. A lot of people who stand on their heels, their knees are locked.
Okay.
Okay, which leads us to the next part of the first step, aligning your feet and legs, is to soften your knees. Soften them. So that doesn't mean you're standing here like this. And it also doesn't mean that you're locking your knees. It just means that they're soft. Okay, remember the whole, yeah, go ahead.
Go with a hair, your knees are slightly softened, a hair off a lock.
There you go. A hair off of locked. And again, if people have trouble with that, softening their knees, have them go back to their feet and try and balance over that tripod. Because again, a lot of people who lock their knees, they're standing on their heels. Okay, there's no weight. There's less weight on those 2 front points, if that makes sense. So play with that a little bit, you guys, and see where your balance is. Another way to soften your knees is to soften your quads. You know, are your quads soft, or are you standing with them just completely contracted? If your quads are really contracted, your knees are locked. Okay? Having good posture does not mean that everything is tight. Okay? It means that it's soft and aligned. You can be aligned and relaxed. Remember in the introduction, this is another important key piece in the introduction, is alignment and relaxation are two sides of the same coin. When you have them together, you have balance, right? So that's what we're doing here. We're aligning with the skeleton, but at the same time, we're relaxing. And then your rear end is soft. So Danny likes to say, don't be a tight ass, right? So hit your butt
Oh.
with your fists and make sure it's soft. You're not squeezing those cheeks. Okay, it's just soft. Okay, so now you've done the first step of creating your posture, which is aligning your feet and legs. There's a lot of stuff in there, a lot of stuff you can focus on. And that's why every single time we start a drill or an exercise in Chi running or Chi walking, you're going to start with posture and alignment. So align your feet and legs. Now the next step, the second step, is to lift or lengthen from the crown of your head. So I'm going to exaggerate this for a second. A lot of people stand like this, right? Shoulders are round, chin is up, right? Okay, so you can see how my neck is curved. I'm really exaggerating this, you guys. I mean, it can be very subtle, and with a very slight amount of coaching, you can change this. So you want to lengthen from the crown of your head. If you put your hand on your crown, and I want you to exaggerate being out of alignment. So you can exaggerate this. Put your hand on the crown of your head, give it about an inch or two. Now lengthen into your hand. And notice what happens to my neck. It gets long. I've actually gained an inch. So again, if I'm standing slumped, my chin's up, the crown is back. If I give myself an inch and I lengthen into my hand, I've actually gained an inch in height. What else happens when you lengthen the crown of your head? You lengthen the back of your neck. Your chest opens up and your shoulders drop. Okay, so there becomes less tension in your shoulders. They're naturally relaxed. And why is it important to open up your chest? So you can breathe. Yeah. Right? And so when you open up your chest, notice that when I'm lengthening from the crown of my head and my shoulders drop, notice that I'm not lifting my chest. So being in good posture doesn't mean doing this. You're not lifting your thorax. You're just lengthening. Okay, and your shoulder blades, feel how your shoulder blades are flat on your back. So you're dropping your shoulder blades into your back pockets. Feel like they can slide right down your back into your back pockets because they're flat on your back. As opposed to this, your shoulder blades look like two blades coming out of your back. Until you lengthen and relax, the shoulder blades flatten, your chest opens up so you can breathe. Okay, so that's the second step. What's the third step? Third step is to engage your core. Or what we're going to do next is called sit up in your chair. So you can feel what that means. But engaging your core means giving yourself a slight crunch. So you're not squeezing your butt. You're just feeling a crunch or a slight engagement of your core. And we're going to demonstrate that when we do sit up in your chair, which we're going to do next. And the last step to creating your column, we call this creating your column or creating your posture, whatever you're comfortable with. You're aligning your skeleton. Remember, what you're doing, you guys, in these 4 steps is creating alignment so that it's super easy. It's the most efficient way for your skeleton to hold up your body. Takes as minimal amount of energy as possible. That's the whole point of knowing how to be aligned. The last step is to look at make sure that your dots are connected. So how do you know that? How do you know there's a straight line from your shoulder to your hip to your ankle? There's a couple ways. One way is to just do, well, I'm going to show you a bunch of different tricks. One way is to look and see, you can look in a mirror. And I strongly suggest that you practice doing the 4 steps in a mirror so you can feel what it feels like. Because many of you are going to be standing this way. And then when you do the steps, you're going to notice your hips are going to go rearward, need to go rearward. One way is to notice that your arm, your upper arm, is on a line with your hip. So you notice how that upper arm is straight right along your body. If my hips are forward and I bring that arm up, it's behind me, right? Another way to look is to look down. Once you've done the 3 steps, look down and see if you can see your toes. If you're fairly flat here, you don't have any major obstacles, you should be able to see the bows of your shoelaces. Okay. So if you look down, you should be able to see for sure your toes. If you have a belly or a chest, you might not be able to see where your toes are. You might be able to see. That's my favorite one. Most people, when they look down and if their hips are forward like this and they look down, they won't be able to see your toes. Okay, that looks pretty good, Hari. That looks great. I can't see your legs, but can you look at Hari, you guys? You can definitely see how her upper body is aligned from her shoulder to...
Can you turn sideways? There we go. Hari sideways, got it. But everybody else, if you're standing up, if you turn sideways.
Allison, can you turn sideways? Yeah.
As Cheryl's talking, I can take a look at.
Yes,
posture.
take a look at, yeah. Good. Anna, relax your shoulders and really lengthen from the crown of your head. Just relax. Another key clue that you're aligned, you guys, is your hands will hang about 45 degrees off your thighs. Okay. If your hips are forward, notice what happens. If I'm relaxed, notice that my hands will go rearward. Does that make sense? And then once I bring my hips in line, my hands will be hanging about 45 degrees off of my legs. It kind of feels like if you're doing this and it feels weird, you guys, if it feels like you're bending over and your butt's sticking out, look, that's why it's important to do this in the mirror so you can really see that it feels right. Okay, it's almost like, yeah, go ahead, Vince. Yep.
Sorry. Okay, so Allison, if you could just take 2 fingers, put them on your hip bones when you're at that side profile, and just give me a slight adjustment for your hips going backwards, just a tad. Okay, relax your shoulders and arms now.
There you go.
You're just about there. Give me a tad more hip behind you. Bingo.
Good.
There you
Dan,
go. Lengthen through the crown of your head. Nice. Jan, I needed you to be longer, please. Okay, so you really want to lift a little bit longer. Okay, when you were in posture, and then your hips also come behind you, just a tad. And William, you're nice and long, but you can move your hips backwards just a little bit. Oh, there we go, right in that area. Now, everybody's in this position. Mentally drop your focus to your feet. Cheryl talked about that tripod and how you're balanced front to back and left to right. Can everybody feel that? If you can't feel that, wave your hand. Okay, great. All right, William, here we go. Keep yourself sideways. What I want everybody to do then in class, in case you have a student that doesn't feel it, put your fingers on your hips again and push your hips out way behind you and let your upper torso fall forward.
There you go, William.
Wh-
Good.
There you go. Where's the pressure on over your feet now? Oh, you're on mute. I know you were trying to say something, William. You're on mute.
I just didn't hear the last thing you said, sorry.
As you push your hips behind you, let your upper torso fall down. Now, where's the pressure on your feet?
It's pretty equally balanced.
The front.
Get your hips all the way to the back. Hips to the back, upper torso's coming forward. Where's the pressure?
Heels.
Heels, good answer. Can everybody feel when your hips are backwards, your upper torso is bent down, you're pushing back, your body weight's all on your heels. Now, stand up nice and tall, bring your hips forward. Now bring your hips all the way up, all the way forward, way the heck out there. So when your hips are way out there, where's the pressure on your feet?
I still feel it on my heels.
It's still, push those hips out there.
Feel it on the front.
Yeah, they fall on the front, your forefoot.
Yeah.
Right? Can everybody feel the pressure on your forefoot?
Yes. Yes.
William, you have the pressure on your forefoot now?
Yes.
Yeah, I've shifted it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, good. Now, push those hips back so that they align under your shoulders, but yet just above your ankles, and create that column.
Mhm.
Now, Cheryl gave a couple clues. So in this position, you can look in the mirror. If you're outside, you can look at your shadow.
Mhm.
If you're inside, your upper arm, does your upper arm align with your upper torso? While your lower arm is actually out in front of your body.
Yeah.
That's one way. And then the other way, as Cheryl likes to phrase it, without obstacles, you can cheat your head out of position and look down and see the bows of your shoes.
Mhm. Yeah. Right.
In this position, your new posture, your body weight is supported by your skeletal system, ligaments, and tendons. You're no longer doing work with all your extraneous muscles. The only muscle group we've asked you to engage is from your belly button down to your pubic bone. Remember, that's step 3. We were gonna engage our lower abdominal region. That's that little engagement that Cheryl talked about.
Okay.
So when we're teaching, if we break it down into even the simplest steps, we're going to use the catchphrase ALEC. A is align. And that alignment, we're talking about aligning so that all our body parts are moving the same forward direction. Lower half of the body, our feet are parallel, hip width apart. Remember, use that hand. Upper part, our chest, shoulders, head and neck are pointed in a forward direction. E is engage. I engage by lengthening through the crown of my head, right? I've got the back of my neck as long and straight as it could be. And as I do this, remember how you felt that lifting going on? Remember these muscles here, they're called your SCMs. They pull up on your collarbone. The collarbone pulls up on your rib cage. Your rib cage opens up your lung capacity, the area where your lungs are, so that you can get a full breath of air. From there, do you feel the little engagement in this lower abdominal region? It's almost like zipping up your pants. As Cheryl said, it's not with these, I'm engaged, and here I am, and I can't move with everything all engaged. It's just a nice and subtle engagement. This subtle engagement connects the lower half of your body to the upper half of your body. Once you're in that alignment, mentally drop your focus down to the ground. Can you feel that sense of balance? That balance is over the tripod. So it's ALEC. In your script, it says a column check. I like to take that C and make it can you create a sense of balance? Because you want to be balanced over your feet. Whether you're a runner running at a 5-minute mile pace or a walker walking at a slow meditative pace, you will have the same sense of balance over your feet.
Vince, can we quickly do the sit up in your chair for the last 4 minutes and be done? Or do you want to?
Let's ask questions before we do sit up in the chair.
Okay.
And then Cheryl's favorite thing in the whole script, or excuse me, in this whole lesson, is sit up in the chair. Any questions?
This is so much like, you know, the mountain pose in yoga. But the piece that I tend to do is to get things tight, and rather than just allowing it to sort of fall off the skeleton, let the body fall off into alignment with the skeleton. And the engaging the core, I don't feel really confident on that, but it'll come.
It will when we talk about sitting up in your chair, Jan. And I appreciate your saying the mountain pose, because in the mountain pose, and you could probably correct me, but my understanding of the mountain pose, having done a little bit of yoga in my life, is that it's really about tightening the body and tightening the glutes and being tight in alignment. And that's exactly the opposite of what we're talking about here.
It is, yeah, getting into alignment, but then the words that I would hear is hug the muscle to the bone to give you strength. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we're not hugging muscles.
No,
We're relaxing.
no.
We're relaxing those things. And Cheryl gave you the rundown version, and I'll say Danny's favorite line when we talk about having your glutes engaged. And I say this, and I always preface it. I'm not saying this to insult anybody, upset anybody. I'm saying this so that when you're out there this week walking and running, that you can smile and laugh and remember it. So there's no room for tight asses in chi running or chi walking. Plainly put.
Yeah, which is really funny because I am like a meticulous as far as technique goes. Like, so I could be the tight ass of chi running. Vince is like the laid back dude.
Oh, yeah. That's me, laid back. You guys, yeah, you'll see that over the next few months.
All right. Well, let's what do you want to do, Vince?
William
Yeah.
had a question.
Yeah,
sorry.
I can take it offline if I need to, because we're running short on time. But I know that I tend to, and Vince, you had me push my hips backwards, and I know that this is something that I regularly do. Is I push them forward all the time. But when I do relax it into that more backward position, I feel it in my lower back. And I'm wondering if that's because I'm not engaging my core, or I'm just not, it doesn't feel right. It feels like I'm tiring out because of the soreness in the lower back. And I'm just wondering what might be going on there.
I'd like you to check in as you practice the position. Let me see here. I could get. I just want to make sure you get that side thing here. So what happens is, after we go through the steps, right? Step 1's lower body, feet are parallel, hip width apart. Step 2, upper body, chest, shoulders, head and neck, all pointed in the same forward direction. Step 3 is that engagement. We engage by lengthening through the crown of our head. Now, what happens when you start to engage? Your pelvic girdle actually becomes more neutral. That's what this engagement did. Cheryl showed us, and she's got a ton more flexibility than I do. But Cheryl was rocking her pelvic girdle, so she went from an anterior tilt to posterior tilt. We as chi runners and chi walkers want a neutral pelvic girdle. You can think about this now. You'll know when you're teaching. You have to know who you're talking to. Are you talking to people that are very versed in yoga and Tai Chi, so you can talk about the you get into things a little bit deeper. In the Asian philosophy side of it, some other people might be like, I don't need that woo-woo stuff. Just give me the right stuff. Give me what I need. So here's your pelvic girdle. I want you to think about it as a big bowl. Anterior tilt, the bowl's spilling your chi out up front. Posterior, now the bowl's spilling out backwards. Neutral, all your chi is staying in your bowl. Now, when William, we put you in that position, we are now lengthening your back muscles, your lower back muscles specifically. Because if you had more of an anterior tilt, and as soon as we engage, lengthen and engage, all of a sudden, this becomes neutral. It's like the curvature of your spine will still be there, but it's going to be slightly less.
You're
So now
stretching
these
muscles
muscles-
that you're not using.
Now,
Okay.
these muscles are getting lengthened. So
Yeah.
my question might be for you to be more body aware. Are they hurting? Or are they aching a little bit because you just asked them to do something they haven't done in years? And that something isn't putting extra stress and strain on them, but it's actually just lengthening, just like stretching a tight muscle.
I'll look at that this week and think particularly about that tilt. Is it sore because I'm tilting as I'm like trying to push my hips back a little bit further, or is it just because it's a new position?
I'm gonna go with new position.
New position.
Yeah, something your body has not done in probably since you were a little kid. And the fun thing is, we've taught this class or Danny's taught this class for like 19, 20 years. And in the class, we talk about the progression of an infant and how if you watch a little baby, you know, when they start to run, they're like this. They go down the road and it's like they fall because it's like, oh, there's something shiny. Their feet can't keep up with their forward fall. Now, all of a sudden, I've got a baby in my house and I'm watching her run. And as she's taking off and running, all she wants to do is go like this. And then I see her all of a sudden, she'll trip herself and boom, go down. So she's got the actual alignment for a chi run. She's out there. I can't get her to chi walk yet. She's still just running first. She's going out there. I'm trying to slow her down a little bit, and but she's tripping over her feet. So us is we've got to work on that alignment and then gradually allow our upper body to fall forward as we move our dantian forward.
Okay.
Okay, and it's a new concept. This is brand new for everybody because remember, since the days we fell in the park, we've been taught not to fall anymore. Right? You go to school, oh no, I excelled, I got A's, and you know, A's on my, oh, you only got a C or you only got an F? Oh, that's considered a falling. What? Oh, what do you mean you did that? You didn't do this? We're taught not to fall in today's society. Now all of a sudden here comes Danny, and Danny goes, it's not, it lets everybody fall. It's a controlled fall, but lets everybody fall. Move your dantian forward and we're gonna fall from there. In fact, those are the words we use. Drop your focus to your feet and fall from there. And off you go. And the people that go the fastest are gonna be the ones that relax the most around their column as they're falling forward.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, let's say goodnight. It's 5
Yes.
after
Yes.
the hour, and we'll continue next week. So what I would ask you guys to do is practice the 4 steps and
Okay.
practice in front of the mirror and see where your alignment is and just play with it. And we'll have you teach those 4 steps next week. And I'll teach you the sit up in your chair exercise. Review that one too, because that one will really help you feel that engagement that we're looking for and what that's supposed to feel like.
Oh, good. Very good.
Okay?
Yes.
Any questions? Everybody's good?
Vince, do you have a second after the call?
Yeah, certainly. Hari?
I'm
you have
gonna
a question?
I'm gonna stop recording.
Yes, okay.
Sounds great.
Okay.
I
Take care, everybody.
I must go, guys, but I like to contact you